Joining us from Dallas, Republican Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas.
Hey, Pete, Joe Scarborough here. Always great to have you on, and always great to see you. We understand, have been getting reports that a lot of the people from Houston that are evacuating are eventually going to end up in Dallas. Tell us what's going on there.
Joe, in fact, we do expect that. We've opened up our operations center in Dallas. As you remember, during Katrina, we took in some 30,000 people. It placed a great welcome sign then that we did, and we're going to again. We will have beds, we will have physicians, we will have emergency physicians and emergency officials who are available. We have the faith community that's ready here. Joe, what lies ahead for everyone is to make sure that after the trauma of water, that everybody has their tetanus shots, that they get their medicine, that we take care of children. Obviously, when people get together, we then, whether we like it or not, have diarrhea problems, we have food problems, we have needs of people. We are prepared for this, I believe. The problem is that people are having trouble getting out of Houston because of the bands of rain. So, Joe, both of you are amazingly kind in how you talk about the neighbor-to-neighbor help. At church yesterday, we talked extensively about being prepared to help our friends from Houston, and we're ready to do that.
And that's what we've heard from several friends in Texas that we have, talking about how the churches and I'm sure other relief organizations, I'm just talking to people that I know, friends in churches, talking about getting in cars, kind of like we did in Katrina, getting in cars and driving over, and everybody in Dallas doing what they can to help their friends in Houston.
We will be organized for this. Joe, I'd love to hear some discussion in your media about preparing Louisiana and East Texas, people preparing themselves for what will be a big flood. This, obviously, we could get another, as the meteorologist said, 10 inches of rain that comes. But it's going to come to East Texas and Louisiana, and we offer our prayers to them.
As you and I know, and anybody that spent any time in Beaumont knows, 20 inches of rain in 24 hours in Beaumont, Texas would be devastating. So talk about the scope of devastation in Houston as you know it. What have you heard from FEMA? What have you heard from other government agencies?
Well, as you know, Joe, the area of concentration about this is tens of thousands of homes that find themselves not completely flooded, but at least probably the first 15 inches in a house. That means that tens of thousands of houses, the infrastructure, roads, bridges, all this is going to have to be repaired before we get into November. It is going to mean a mass of people that will be there, a federal effort, yes, but mostly neighbor-to-neighbor help. What are we going to need? We're going to need people to stay vigilant and know what we're trying to do. But the aftermath of this is where we've got to continue to stay after this for 6 and 10 weeks. 2 points. Congress is going to have to deal with this appropriately, as we've had to do over the last 20 years of big floods and tornadoes. I would offer some bit of advice to the administration and to the United States Senate. They need to finish 100% of the confirmations. They need to finish doing their work rather than the games that have been going on. We need real live people who will be accountable and responsible for what happens for several years from the administration across the board. And I encourage the administration to finish off its business. I encourage the United States Senate to end whatever they're doing. We are going to have the needs of the nation to be looked at. And instead of playing politics over these next few months, probably 15 or 20 months in Texas, we're going to be playing help our neighbor, help the people who need it.
Jonathan Swan, we focus so much on the State Department, but after one of these storms comes through, if FEMA's understaffed, if SBA is understaffed,
Health and Human Services.
Health and Human Services,
Department of
Justice. All of these people, if they're understaffed, they don't understand what an impact that has on taking care of affected areas like this, Jonathan. Jonathan Swan's with Axios. He has a question. Jonathan.
Well, to that point, Congressman, with appropriations, making sure that the money gets where it needs to go, can you talk us through what Congress is planning to do, and also help us understand your own deliberations when these things come up? My understanding is you voted for the Katrina aid package against at least some elements of the Sandy aid package. Can you help us understand how you make decisions like that?
Yes, I can. There were essentially an early package and a late package, one that went from about, as I recall, about $17 billion to $60 billion. And I felt like that, and I think most members from Texas did, that we needed to get immediate aid there, not the final package. And the final package ended up being about 3 months later, and we negotiated and tried to work with that. This is going to be what an immediate package is, not the final package, to help people in this area. We did this with Katrina. We looked at the long-term impact that is still playing itself out in Louisiana.
So Pete, did you vote for the first package, the $17 billion package?
Joe, I've not had a chance to check, but as I recall, yes, because I was at the center of that negotiation.
Right.
Trying to make sure we did that once again, it went from 17 to, by the time it came back several months later, $60 billion. I felt like we could have been more careful in that process. But once again, it's not really a matter of whether you vote against it or not. It's a matter of, did the package, was it tailored to the need? And we will tailor this only to the needs, I hope. Right. And we'll be a part of that tailoring. But once again, this is far larger.
Your goal will be, when the package comes through, that it'll be actually about aid, actually, for the people of Houston and the surrounding areas in Texas. I mean, all of us know that usually when these aid bills come up, you know, you'd be lucky not to get 5 off-ramps in, you know, in Kansas.
You understand this, Joe, because you served and understand the needs. What we're going to do is, and to answer Jonathan correctly, we are going to, the week we get back, which is not this week, it is next week, we're going to finish off our 8 packages. But it is far too early for us to actually have, except for an initial viewpoint, the final package on this that may take into December for Texas to really get a handle around what its needs are. We'll address that, and I believe people will deal fairly with each other. I'm not worried about that.
So, Congressman, the package, whenever it's done, whether it's done in 2 weeks or in December, as you indicated, it's going to be of immense cost to taxpayers to carry this burden and help the people of Houston and greater Texas. You have had tips that you just gave us for staffing other departments that are critical to this effort. Do you have any tips this morning for the Freedom Caucus, who seem to resent spending even a penny of public money?
Yes, and I will tell you, we have watched our colleagues over a period of time as they have been impacted to come to a sense of reality. Here's what I would say to you. The package needs to represent the real need. And in Texas, I can't even begin to understand how large this is. This is maybe twice as large as the largest we've ever had, and I think that was back to 1982. What I would say to you is that my colleagues that are in the Freedom Caucus are very dear friends of mine and of a number of people who recognize the need. If the package is in any way bloated, it will have problems. If it is tailored to fit the need that we can substantiate, my colleagues in the Freedom Caucus will be there.
Well, and you know, that's a thing, unfortunately, you never know in the process when it goes off the rails. So first of all, our hopes and prayers are with the good people of Texas that they get through this, and also would love to have you back, Pete, just to talk about this process and make sure that actually people are going to be spending tax money on helping the people of Texas and not some side projects they've been trying to cram into omnibus bills for 10 years. Thank you so much
Pete Sessions
for being with us,
of
Pete.
Texas.
Please let everybody down there know we're thinking and praying for them.